Hello, welcome back to Fresh Off the Bluff. I'm Janice,
And I'm Suzanne.
and today we have a very special episode that is very close to our hearts. And I think me and Suzanne have always talked about this, and I don't know, maybe we're just boy crazy, who knows, or we love love or we love relationship talk. But we're talking about crushes and dating today. How do you feel about this topic? I think I was actually pretty nervous to talk about this topic.
A little nervous, a little nostalgic, probably going through my brain about, how everything affected when we were young up until adulthood. Probably when I
Yeah,
was, yeah.
I agree because, you know, everything that I based off of what attracted me to a person was based on, I don't know, this is really bad, watching television, watching, whether it's watching cartoons, watching our favorite, teen shows, or watching Hong Kong shows. I grew up watching TVB, and I think you did too, right?
I did, but it was mainly, yeah, it was some dramas,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly it was the Monkey King. So
Romance from the Monkey King?
not really gonna find my person that I might be attracted to in there. Maybe the big guy, the big pig Buddha guy.
Chupakwai. Wait, Chupakai. No, don't
I
worry,
actually
Chupakwai.
ended up marrying the big pig, but
The
but he's a chef.
Is your husband is he Year the pig?
Yeah, you're the pig.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're the pig, just like our daughter.
That's so cute. That
Yeah.
is so cute. Sorry, I did not know that. So you have two piggies in your family.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice because my father's also a dragon and I'm a dragon.
Yeah.
So to think that, my husband's the same as my daughter is kind of also sweet.
That
Creates
is
that
really
bond.
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so sidetrack for a moment here. So you married the pig. I married the cow. Because my husband's well, he's or the ox or whatever, right?
Ox,
My
yeah.
husband's the ox, and my son is also an ox. Well, your son is also an ox too, but
That's
yeah, I
right,
have
yeah.
two oxes and I have one piggy. So
Mm,
she's like obviously the special one. She's the only pig in the house. But yeah,
mhm.
I have two oxes. So that's so funny. You married the pig in the Monkey King, and I married the ox.
Oh my
Random.
gosh, the ox with his
Yeah, yeah. Now
eyebrows?
that you're thinking about it, yeah, now, so
So good.
funny.
So
Yeah,
good.
so good. Anyways, so what was your when what who was your first crush?
I think early elementary, maybe grade 4?
Grade 4?
Grade
Okay.
4? Grade
Okay.
4 because grade 4 or 5 because I think that's when we start having school dances, right?
Grade 4. Okay. So your first crush was like a human then.
Yes. Definitely was a human. Okay. Okay,
You
wait a
get
second.
see
All
here
right.
she's thinking about it
Okay,
more.
Tuxedo Mask.
Me too.
Yeah, Tuxedo Mask.
This was not planned. I swear to God, this was not planned. But I mean, Sailor Moon,
Sailor Moon.
Prince Darien, Tuxedo
Say no
Mask.
more.
Yeah, and
Dreamboat.
yep. And
Mhm.
yes, people, he is the OG. You cannot replace him with Genu from K-pop Demon Hunters,
Mhm.
although
Mhm.
he is also very handsome in the anime world, how they created him. But no, Prince Darien, Tuxedo Mask wins all the time.
100%.
All the time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's all I was like. So your first was a human?
Yes, no, definitely Tuxedo Mask.
What was your expectations about dating, about having a relationship with someone? What was your ideal
My
person?
ideal. I mean, obviously it changed throughout childhood into adulthood, but okay, honestly, first of all, I didn't really have too much to base off of because I grew up in a very classic Asian household where the father was very strict and the mother did her duties and we didn't really have much conversation. let's say.
Oh,
Yeah, so my main memories of my father, who typically, you would have an example of what you should look for in a husband or a partner. I didn't really have too much to base off of because I didn't have too much of a relationship growing up. When I was
with
when
your
I was
father?
really young with my father, yeah. When I was
Mhm,
really young, he would be the person who works all the time, and he worked so hard and overtime all the time,
mhm.
and that was basically, he had to make money for the house. So I guess that's kind of an idea that I had in my mind, but not so much. I honestly, I couldn't say for sure, but I didn't really have a full on conversation with him until I was about 15 years old, 16 years old, when I had like a heart to heart, which is the first time I was like, wow, this is my father.
Was the
it
heart to heart, like, about relationships, or it's just
it was.
something? Oh, really?
It
Okay.
was. The heart to heart
Wow.
was, yeah, the very conversation, real heart to heart conversation, was about relationships, because I was so devastated about a breakup. And I was just so sad because it was my first real, I guess it was my first real breakup that it really hit me in the heart. And so I was up late in the kitchen, and I'm never going to forget it. And I was kind of like to myself, I was quiet and I was crying a little bit maybe. And my father came in and he asked me like, "Oh, everything okay?" And and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it." And everyone was basically gone to sleep or getting ready for bed. So the house was really quiet, and he just sat with me, and
Oh, don't cry. So sweet.
yeah, that was probably the first real connection that we had. And it was based on relationships. It was based on a breakup. But
That's really nice.
yeah, I get emotional about it because he was really hard growing up. He was really he's a very he's a lovely person, but he was very rough around the edges.
哦，唔好喊啦！唉，你喊我都喊啦，I'm gonna cry too.
I wasn't planning on it. But when you brought it up, like, oh, was it about dating? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, that was the first. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, perhaps after that conversation, then I started thinking, like, okay, well, these are the characteristics I would like in a husband, A, B, C, D. But I was quite a bit older. So going back to elementary school, probably what I based it off of was like characters from
Mhm,
the TV screen. Expectations were basically like probably that classic falling in love. Everything
mhm,
is so easy. It's so easy to fall in love, you
mhm.
know? And the boy will probably ignore you a little bit or be, a little bit callous towards you, but that's okay because underneath they'll probably love you. Um, that's probably the first thing that I can think of when we were young that I learned, quote unquote, about what a boy in a relationship, what it would look like, or, you know,
That's so
partner.
nice, and that's so nice that you kind of got that expectations of, like, what qualities from your parents that you would
Right.
like to see in a partner. I don't know if I got that. I think I was a lot of me was, like, what not to do.
Mm,
For me, it was
yeah.
a lot of, like, what not to do, and I think it was important because, to think about what attracted us to someone versus what we're looking for in a partner. Our generation was growing up through TV. This millennial generation was about, getting learning a lot from television because our parents were just really busy
Yeah.
working. And it's not their fault. They were just busy working a lot. And at the same time, they didn't also know how to communicate with us either. Again, being a new country, and just trying to make ends meet. It's not like they had friends to talk about, like, oh, I think my daughter's going through this. I think my child is going through this. How should we talk about them? That's another thing too. Like, thinking back to go, if I'm watching like some of my favorite kid television shows, like Boy Meets World, I don't know, like Sabrina, every grown up or guardian has the talk with them. We never got the talk. Even when I watched Beethoven 1 or 2, and one of the kids, I kid you not. Yeah, I love that movie, by the way. Grew up on those films. And there's this one scene where the youngest girl asks her father, "Where do babies come from?"
Mm.
And again, didn't understand why that was such a funny scene or why the father makes such a stink eyed face, like, how do I tackle this type of topic. And I think because I saw that reaction, I was like, I'm gonna go do it too.
What do you mean you're gonna go do it? So you
I
asked your
went and
father?
asked my parents. Yeah, I went. I just want to see if they would give the same reaction. So I went like, where do maybe babies come from? And I think my father said, just ask your mother. And then I asked my mom, and then my mom gave the like this grinning face. I'm like, why is it so funny? I'm just like, huh, they did it too. I'm like, I just didn't. I think I thought I understood. I'm like, I understand that it takes a man and a woman to be one, but I
Right.
didn't understand why it was like so funny. I'm like, or why they were so hesitant to tell me the story or what it actually takes. And I'm like, is it like watering the plant,
Yeah,
like
birds and the bees.
bees? Exactly, right? I didn't go for the guy that everybody liked. I think that I will say that was my one trait where I'm like, I don't want to like everything that everybody else likes. That was an early trait that I understood that I wanted for myself. I mean, I know I wanted something different and I wanted something that's for me and that's mine. But I just didn't know what that was just yet. But when did you feel like you found that person that gave you a glimpse of the qualities that you're looking for from your
um,
conversation with your dad?
oh, from the conversation from my father.
Yeah. Or like or anything like when you start to be like, "Oh, these are the characteristics or qualities I want in a partner."
Okay, there was just like you, there was a lot of things that I knew that I didn't want
Mhm. Mhm.
because of my parents. But I grew to learn like why those characteristics were there, like why he was so callous and why
Mhm.
he was so angry all the time was because we grew
Mm.
up in such I would say at the time it was a very racist community, at least what I had experienced and my father had experienced at his workplace and what I had experienced in school. So obviously, just like him, I had created a front to be a little bit more callous, and I didn't understand that as a child. So growing up, I guess the first person that really saw the characteristics, I was probably around in my early 20s. And I think that was the very first time that I was thinking to myself, like, okay, these are the traits that I would be looking for someone who was very stable, who knew what he wanted and got it. I felt that love behind the doors. Just like in that moment that I had the one on one conversation with my father, it was private, it was not in the open, not obvious, but it was just for me and him. And I think that's what really drew me to this person was that he wasn't an obviously outwardly
Mhm.
positive or happy person, which is so funny because that's what I ended up marrying. I am marrying my mother over my father, actually. Let's be honest here. There's so many moments where I have told my husband, I married my mother. I married
That's
my
so
mother.
funny.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, there are moments where, like, okay, no, I married my father. So maybe it's like a nice blend of the two of them. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So I was probably like my early 20s when I first met somebody that really had the characteristics of what I was looking for in a
Yeah.
partner, perhaps. How about you?
I think the reason why I fangirled a lot was because I didn't want to be disappointed in reality.
Mm.
Like it was just funner to imagine and dream. And I was such a daydreamer, even being in school. Like I didn't enjoy going to school. Obviously being the only Asian kid in my class. I mean, I had fun with all my friends and stuff, but there'd be moments when I just didn't want to mentally be there. So I would just daydream just to escape. And I still find myself doing that today. And I think I created that habit because I'm like, oh, I just don't want to be disappointed in something else. So it would just be more fun to daydream. And especially because if I when I go over to my friends' place and I see how their parents interact with each other, I kid you not, I would just be like, is this like a Caucasian thing? I'm like, because mine's not like that at all. And then even growing up watching like Hong Kong shows and seeing even when they create the characters, there's like none of that in the mother father. So I just thought I'm like, that's not, I don't know if I really want that. But of course, but it's so different because when you watch Asian dating, like when they're young, it's like so different. The male is so gentleman and it's like um there's so much of trying to court. The courting process is so different, the dating process is so different compared to like reality, but then once they're married it's like all sparks goes out the window,
Right.
and there was just none of that, and I just thought I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would want that. And then I felt that my role, I stopped thinking about what qualities that I'll be looking for. I just thought what I need to do to be attractive for other people. I need to be
Mm.
obedient. I need to be able to provide. I need to have a reason for them to come home to me by the end of the day. And by that, I'd be like, cook, clean, and be like the housewife.
Right. Your duties.
That was yeah, right? The duties, kind of like,
Mhm.
what your mom, not saying like that's what she strived for, but that's just kind of like what happens, right? So you're like, "Oh, I need to be like that to like have a husband." Like, "Look, I can do this." And then I need to make sure, my in-laws like me too because look, I can cook, clean. I'll be a great mom, I'll be a great wife. That was, just trying to mold myself in that category. And
Mhm.
not saying that it's like a bad thing, but I was just so focused on molding myself because I thought no one else is really gonna like anything else except if I don't meet these categories.
I mean, it makes sense because you're exposed to that type of relationship through the screen
Hmm.
from so early on. And just like you know, if we don't have that example in front of us, because my parents, I never saw them hold hands, I never saw them kiss. There
Mm,
was like
same.
no form of affection. I'm sure there was in some way, somehow, somewhere. We just never saw. I mean, on vacation, they would hold hands, but that was it.
That's
I think
cute.
that was the only time that we would ever see them hold hands. But probably because it was like, whew, we have no responsibilities to like go to work here. We can just focus on ourselves and our children. Let's enjoy this time together. And then they came back to each other. I think that's something that I saw a lot from them is like, once we hit reality, it's we're back on the grind, and
Yeah.
that was something that in a relationship, I guess, work hard. That's what I
Right.
really saw. It was like you have to work hard in a relationship. You have to be
Yeah.
accepting in a relationship. You need to work hard for the family in a relationship. I mean, obviously, yes, all things completely true, but you don't also have to forget each other, right? I
Hmm.
think that's something that my husband and I work very hard on is we don't forget about each other. Just like that was the one thing I knew that I didn't want to do when I was young watching them. I was like, but I don't want that. I want to be loved. I want affection and I want, physical touch and I
I
want
think you and I
kisses.
are the same. Yeah, we want
Yeah,
like all
right?
of it. We want the whole thing. We're not being greedy here. It's just that's what balance everything, right?
Yes.
I'm exactly the same way because now, so going back to your original question, so like what qualities that I would look for, or when I first got it, was when I meet someone and they would, I think, recognize my efforts and then say, I'm with you. Like I'm right
Mm,
there with you and willing to do, be right there with you. And that's like, oh, okay. Like he doesn't just want to sit back and do nothing about it. He's willing to go through their journey with me. And I think that's what it is. It's not just about, whether if they're, good looking or like funny or smart or has an education, but it's just if they're willing to accept me and willing to go through the motions with me. I think that was really important.
mhm.
And I mean, I saw bits of that throughout my life when I was whether dating someone or meeting someone briefly. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are partners that have, those qualities. But I think to safe to say that I married what I wanted. So
Oh.
yeah. And I think you did too.
Oh,
So
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So congratulations to our husbands.
Yeah, pats on the back.
Pats
Pats
on
on
the
the back.
back. Yeah. Very good. They're very good.
I think one thing that was really, really big for me, that I was lacking in childhood that I sought for in a relationship that I got in the end was communication and the
Mhm,
connection through communication, because
mhm,
I didn't get that at all when we were kids. Like there
mm,
was like zero communication throughout
yeah,
childhood. There was just non-existent. So
yeah.
when I was going through all of the hard times that I was going through in elementary school, all of the bullying that I experienced, I had nobody to talk to. I would go
Yeah.
home. I remember I would just go to my room and I would cry and feel so alone because I
Oh,
had
me
nobody to
too.
talk to,
Yeah.
right?
And I think it's
So
also
that was
hard
one thing
being
that
like
was really big.
Chinese.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean that was the basis of it. That was the basis of why I was bullied in the first place.
Mm,
And and then in middle school, high school, being called a racial slur, being called a chink. And it was very outwardly racist.
yeah.
And I knew that because I didn't see myself in my classmates. I didn't see blonde hair. I didn't see blue eyes. I didn't see pale skin. I saw darker skin, jet black hair, dark brown eyes in the mirror. And I just could not see my reflection in anybody that I surrounded myself with. But the biggest thing was I wanted somebody that I could really talk to that would feel like home. And that was
Mhm,
one thing that for sure, like, that really drew me to my husband, is that when I spoke to him, I felt like I had known him for a lifetime. I felt
mhm,
like, wow, I was just in the center of everything for him, and that he was 100% there and available to me, listening to me, really engaged with me. And it was just spark. It was just like this really bright spark that I needed, like really deep down in my heart, because it wasn't what I had received at all throughout my entire childhood. And it would just
mhm.
really, really almost grounded me, you know,
Mm, yeah, yeah. I
almost
know.
healed, right? Almost
Oh.
like was healing for my childhood. All the past trauma was like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm being seen. I'm
Yeah,
being seen.
I
I'm
think that
being
was really important. I felt the same way too, and it's not like I wanted to take a step back when you say you're going through all those heartaches and you're like crying and you're trying to, go through your emotions because, first of all, I just want to say, like, I'm so sorry that you went through, those racial times of people just judging you. Because although it happened to me, I don't think it happened to me at your level. I knew people would obviously look at me and be like, "Oh, where are you from?" and like things about like my culture, and they would be like polite about it. But deep down, I knew boys wouldn't like me in elementary school or high school. Boys would like, other people or my friends, and I would just be the wingman. I would just be like the third wheel. I would just be, the connector to like help my friends get the boys that they like. And I would just be the friend. I really was. I was just be the friend there. And then I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up as well too. So yeah, I would cry because there'd be no one I could talk to. I wouldn't talk to my best friends about like, why I feel the way I feel. Like they would never understand, of course. And yeah, it was just really sad. So then that's where I used like, the escape time. I would just watch shows and just daydream and think about, one day what my partner could be. And of course, like growing up in Squamish, there was no like Chinese guys as well too. There was a lot of like more Asian girls like me and you, like Chinese girls, but there wasn't a lot of Chinese boys that I would meet or be friends with. I think it was just me and you. And thankfully, we found each other. But
in high
yeah,
school. It took many years.
it took many years. I think we didn't I think in our senior year is when we slowly just started opening up to each other. This is also
That's
very
right.
important. Like you and I didn't really open up to each other about, did you ever feel this way? Did you ever feel that way? Until probably after high school because we were both dating at the time. So we were both so immersed in our relationships and hoping those guys would be the one. Silly of us, we're 16, but we're already thinking of, oh my gosh, we could marry these guys. Like, what were we thinking?
Totally. And I think maybe it was also that feeling of like, did you get enough attention as a child? because all of
Mhm.
a sudden someone's giving you attention, and then it's kind of like, oh, they're giving me attention. They're giving me
Mhm.
the side of a relationship, or some kind of relationship, really
Mhm.
anything.
I will share one funny story that I experienced when I was in elementary school. I had a boyfriend at that time, and it was Valentine's Day, and I had come into my class, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" I guess they were still doing the candygrams at that time.
Candygrams.
Right? They're still handing out candygrams. And of course, someone always got maybe a little bit more than all the rest. And of course, I was
Mhm.
dating, quote unquote, dating another person. And I got to class and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Janice, go to your desk, come see. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, what's going on? And I go to my desk and I was surprised. There was like a teddy bear and there was like chocolates. And I was like, oh, so sweet. And obviously I knew who it was. Like, open it. There's a card and everything. I read the card. I open up the chocolates, and lo and behold, just like a comedy, half is eaten.
No.
It was half eaten. And then I was like, and of course I laugh because I'm like, oh my God, watch it be half eaten. I was like thinking about it in my mind to watch it be, and it was half eaten. And he, without a doubt, without a beat, he says, I got hungry while I was buying things. I was like, thank
In
you.
elementary school. In
Elementary school.
elementary school.
Yeah, I've got some really sweet things in elementary school, like really sweet
Oh.
gestures. Yeah, and then so that happened in I think grade 5, and then in grade 6, same thing. I got another very sweet one. I got like a teddy bear, and then I got a heart vase with a rose in it.
Oh, that's
That one,
sweet.
that one was really sweet. Yeah, I've gotten some really nice sweet gestures.
So those probably kind of touched on those things, like those expectations or what you saw in
Yeah,
me, right?
just like effort, but also, reality of like, oh, I got hungry, but
Yeah,
it's
right.
for you, my love. I'm like, thank you. Yeah.
Did you guys ever do those questionnaires? They always did it around Valentine's Day.
Was it?
Those compatibility things. And
I
then they
can't
would
even
print out a
remember.
list. They would print out a sheet of all the people who you were compatible with in
I
your
think
grade,
so. I
right?
think so. They didn't do it all the time. I think it was like maybe like 1 or 2 years, but oh my gosh, wow, I forgot about those.
I think that we had them every year.
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I always remember opening it up and feeling really excited, like, oh, is my crush in there? And
Oh, yes, yes.
maybe they would be like on the very bottom, or maybe they wouldn't show up at all. And it would be like full of all these people that I don't even want to talk to because they're, completely in their own different friend group. And I would be so disappointed because I'm thinking to myself, how is this going to help me at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, those were
Those were
some
fun
fun.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
I
were fun though.
had I also had like some people that had a crush on me that I didn't expect, and I felt bad that I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel the same way. I'm really sorry." Oh, like how do we break this to them? But also it made me feel good because I was like, "Oh my god, I have something." you
Yeah,
know?
that happened to me in elementary school,
Right? Did
and
that happen to you?
it did, and I feel really, really bad because it was in my basketball team.
Oh.
I played basketball when I was in elementary school, and it was during practice. And somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, so and so likes you," and I literally super loud said, "Ew!" And I felt so bad about it afterwards.
Oh.
I felt so bad about it afterwards, and I can still remember the feeling to this day. Like, why would you do that, Suzanne? That was so mean. Because
Yeah.
he was right there and he was looking at me. But I remember this person who I thought was a really good friend of mine. He actually had feelings for me and I didn't know. And
Yeah.
he became probably one of my best friends when I was in elementary school, going into middle school, and then he ended up moving away. But before he ended up moving away, he ended up sharing his feelings for me, and then he sent me this web link, um, and there was like all this art, like about moments of our friendship, the way he
Oh,
was feeling
wow.
about it, And I was just so taken aback because I was like, oh, wow, this is like right there in front of me
Hmm.
and public. But at least it was like there's no names. It was just like, feelings put into art, which I thought was really lovely.
That
But
is
at
really
the same,
sweet.
it is really sweet, right?
Yeah.
It just it caught me so off guard that I just like didn't even know how to react because I was thinking to myself like, this is so nice, but at the same time, like I had no idea. I had no idea. Um,
Wow. But you didn't feel the same way.
I did. I mean, in some ways, I did, but my feelings were actually towards somebody else in our friends group at the time,
Mm.
who I would consider was my best friend at the time. So it was kind of, and actually at one point, that friend, my best friend at the moment, had come back to me and said, I don't know how you do this to people. So and so ended up falling in love with you, and I miss you all the time, and I think of you all the time. I was like, I
Wow.
didn't know that I did that to people. I didn't know that I was capable of doing that to people,
Right.
which was really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was always
memories.
yeah, it was always the ones that you didn't expect.
Yeah, the ones that catch you off guard for sure.
Yeah. I had a few of those as well too. But it's always like, it's never the person that you really liked that would
Right.
like you back, right? Again, daydreaming. And I think that was like safer for me, right? Because I was like, oh, I can just admire them from afar. Oh, there was another boy that liked me, but he never expressed himself, so I didn't bother. I didn't need to clear anything up. They just got me
Right.
a nice present and left it in my locker. And I was like, okay. Like, first of all, like, how do you have my locker like combination?
Yeah, how did he get in there?
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, how did you get my locker combination? Yeah. I know. Like, people with crushes in high school, they're crazy.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That's like stalkerly. What? They got into your
Yeah.
locker?
They got into my
Okay,
locker and they just
that's
they
extra.
just left. I know, but like, see, expectations versus reality is very
Yeah.
different. If you see this in a show, it's like, oh my god, it's so romantic. But when it happens,
Right?
you're like, what, like what my daughter says, what the bombs? How did you get in here?
The creepy vibe definitely comes off before the oh.
So yes, I watch too much TV in this case.
I mean, to be fair, like TV when you watch it, you see from third person, so you see from like, you see that the build up of the crush and everything. So
Yeah,
you kind of like, right, the character build
yeah,
up. So you
the
kind of
character.
feel for also the person who's doing those creepy things. But when it's just happening to you, it's kind of like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
True. Mm.
Man. Well, I think we are going to have a part two because we eventually need to talk about, how we met our husbands. And we mentioned that they might come onto our podcast one day. So I'm really excited about that because our husbands are quite a character. And together they just make chaos in the best way possible.
It's going to be very exciting for sure.
Thank you, everyone who has tuned into episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope that you have someone to talk to when you have these big emotions and feelings when you're growing up. If you're a parent, check on your kids, you know, talk to them. They might not feel comfortable talking to you about it, but they are always listening, whether it doesn't look like they're most of the time. I know I talk to my daughter a lot about her feelings, whether it's relationships with friends or I don't know if she has crushes yet, but I'll be there when she's ready to talk about it. What would you tell your younger self now if you were now that you're experienced?
Find a person to talk to, just like you said. And even if you think that you don't have that relationship connection with somebody, I wish as a young teen or a young girl, I just kind of could take that step forward and have that conversation with my parents,
Mhm.
whether about boys' crushes or what was happening in school to me. But yeah, definitely. And I think growing up, also, when I finally told my parents, they kept asking me, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say anything?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never know who's going to be receptive, right? Your parents are usually always going to be receptive towards you.
Thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.